What will this do, obviously not only for tensions in the Middle East, but also for shipping, for, essentially civilian movement and I guess ports around the nation? This will no doubt cause a lot of issues in that respect too, won't it?
I don't think anyone will be using the Red Sea for sort of probably the next week, I suppose, until we're sure that the Houthis have stopped their anti-ship missile campaign. It was interesting that Russia and China abstained because they're the big winners, if you like, of this in a sense, because the Russians need the Red Sea so that they can export oil to India. And the Chinese, of course, need the Red Sea because that is the fastest route from Shanghai into Europe. So if you like, the Chinese and the Russians are winning the gains without bearing the cost. I would expect now that Iran, and you mentioned Iran before as being behind this, I think it's a bit more complicated. Perhaps the Houthis have agency as well, but I would expect that the Iranian-backed militias in Iraq at the moment will be very likely gearing up for some drone attacks on US forces in Iraq as payback, if you like, for this.
Can you explain also the significance of Australia supporting this move, rather than launching the strikes, but Australia backing the US and the UK's moves here?
So I'm presuming that as we backed it and the president said that we supported it, I'm assuming that somewhere in this complicated and widespread targeting chain, there are some Australians there involved about looking at the photo imagery from the satellites, working out where the targets are, checking them and making sure that hitting them meets the laws of armed conflict. So if you like, in a sort of that management admin role. Australia, of course, at the present time does not have any sort of suitable long-range missiles or a ship close by.
Would you describe this at all on Australia's part as an intervention into the events in the Middle East?
Big words. I mean, I suppose in a way you could say that. It's more an intervention, rather than looking at it from the Middle East, from perhaps that sort of Gaza, which is sort of where most of our focus is at the present time, Gaza, Lebanon, and the West Bank. This is not so much. This is nothing to do with that anymore, I don't think. So this is, if you like, a continuation of what the Houthis and the pirates have been doing in the Somali area for probably sort of 10, 15 years. There has been a lot of uncertainty and turbulence there. The Americans last year fired some missiles against a Houthi radar site that was being used for some raids against merchant shipping. Then that stopped the Houthis at that particular time. So I think this is a continuation of what Australia has been doing in that particular area, in the Sea of Oman and the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea, to support the Americans and their allies with keeping the normal flow of civilian ship going. So this is a command of the seas exercise, if you like.